All right, now we're going to look at list comprehensions. And this is really more about adding a lot of functionality to your list. We're going to see how to do different kinds of matching against lists. There's a lot you can do with these particular techniques we're about to see. So to start off, I'm going to create something that basically looks like a function, but it's specific to list. So here I'm going to, well, actually I need to go into my shell, and now we can work with a list, a new list. All right, so what I'm going to have in here is 4 times m and 2 pipes. Then m, going to have our less than here, minus, and a list here. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm going to break down what's happening with this. So over here is the operation we want to perform 4 times an element in the list. So where does m come from? How is it actually assigning to m? So that was just kind of the overview of the high level of 4 times an element in a list. But now the mechanics of it come in. How does it know it to do that with m? Well, right here is what's happening. So you kind of have the operation, 2 pipes. Now you have the parameters. So it's taking all the elements in this list and assigning them to m. And what it does is goes through each one and performs the operation on each element in the list. So for example, we're going to do 4 times 1, we're going to do 4 times 2, we're going to do 4 times 3. And the result of that is this. So you can definitely see the outcome here. 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 4, 8, and then 3 times 4 we get 12. So really a compressed way to perform what can get to be complex operations on lists. So now we're going to move into something a little more advanced. Let's say we have a highway, and this is going to be a list. And what I'm going to do is create tuples. And so let's see, I'm going to add my terminator. I'm going to have highway names and speed limits. So let's see, we have 12, and then we're going to have 45. And really what I'm doing here are atoms. And then we're going to have another. So let's see, we have another highway 67. It's going to be 55, comma, open my brace. And notice if I don't close my brace, it doesn't jump me. It doesn't jump the cursor further to the right. So if you just open it and start typing, it'll stay in place. But if you close it, then the cursor wants to jump away. All right, so we're going to have highway 112 with a speed limit of, let's say, 65. We're just going to go up to 75 on this. So open my brace. See, the cursor is not jumping away from me here if I don't close it. Then we'll have highway 125 with the 75 speed limit, and I'll close that. All right, so that completes our list, and now I'm going to hit enter, and we get our list. So that is a proper list right there, and it's stored in highway. So if I do this, I can see we've got our list inside of our variable. Now for the function that we want to perform on this. All right, so I'm closing everything in brackets. I'll go ahead and add my terminator now. And what I'm going to do is start with this tuple. And this is going to define what are we going to do here. So I am going to create this variable h and do speed minus 5. So this speed is another variable. I have h and I have 5. And what I'm doing is I'm taking highway for each one of these and putting it into this h, and speed is actually the speed that we have, the speed limit. I'm subtracting 5 off of that. All right, so moving on, our 2 pipes. Now we're going to work with the parameters that we want to use. So here I have, again, h and speed. Those are the parameters, so that's how all of this is going to get in there. And then I have my less than, minus, highway, and speed. I only want, in this case, I'm going to add a condition. I only want speeds that are greater than 55, greater than or equal to. All right, now if we look at this, there's some similarities to what we did up here. So to kind of break this down, if it looks a little bit confusing, so the first part is the operation. So we have that. And what we're doing is nothing on highway. It's just going to print highway, whatever the highway is. Speed, there is an operation that we're performing, so it's similar to this one. Now we have this tuple construct because we have tuples basically in our list. So this one did not. This one had just a straight list with nothing else going on. But here we can make use of the tuple and perform operations on both of these at once. So rather than iterating through a single item, we're iterating through each tuple. So when we perform our operation, we're working with whatever's inside the tuple. Now, we have our division here, now the parameters that we want. So we have h and speed, that sets up the parameters so we can use them over here. Just like up here, we have our list and we put them into M. So you can see here, same syntax, we're putting everything into h and into speed. Now we add a constraint. Up here we did not. We just went through everything as it is. But here we did a little bit different. We're saying highway's fine, bring it along as is, which is exactly what happened up here. But for speed, it's going to be different. We're saying we only want speeds greater than or equal to 55, which means all tuples except this one. So highway 1245 should not get involved with what we're doing here. All right, so let's run this. Notice the output. Nothing actually happened. We didn't get an error, but definitely not what we're expecting. Nothing printed. No highways printed. We didn't see any processing on our 55, on our speeds. So why is that? Well, we go back to a basic premise in Erlang. All your variables need to start with capital letters. We did not start speed with the capital letter, so that's why we get this empty list. So I'm going to make some modifications here. We can do this, and we can do this, and this. Okay, so now our variables are definitely capitalized. The first letter is capitalized on both of those. Let's run this again. All right, that is the output we were expecting with this, and we have everything going from highway 67 on up. So we have 67, 112, 125. Additionally, we subtracted 5 off of each speed limit so that we get 50, 60, and 70. Okay, so next what we're going to do is add another conditional. So we're going to continue working with this here. We're going to add another conditional and see how that works in this particular case. And then we're going to get into some more involved list manipulations, and we're going to see how to do additional matching against items in a list.